Hi everyone, this is Amsterdam Comic Geek speaking, and this video is gonna be about comic book ads. And there's this great Instagram account about comic book ads. The strange and wacky things we find within the pages of comic books. Now sometimes they're ads for muscle men, as we saw in the past, but there are also ads about comics, soliciting new titles and such. I just picked out a couple of posts from this account because I find comic book ads to be fascinating. Like this one, for instance. Read Marvel Comics and stand out in a crowd. It's drawn by Michael Golden. And I really love Michael Golden's artwork. Just let's take a closer look. All kinds of Marvel characters in the Michael Golden way of drawing. I love his Spider-Man here. His Captain America and Hulk. The expression on the Hulk's face is priceless. And his Wolverine reminds me of John Byrne's Wolverine. Now Michael Golden is a prolific comic book artist and illustrator of advertisements. He did a lot of great stuff, and this is what he looks like. And he's done DC comics and Marvel comics and continuity comics. As you can see, he's done a lot of stuff, but I think at the moment he prefers to do commercial work and illustrations for advertisements, more so than comic books. But I loved that illustration. Who doesn't want to be a Marvel reader when you have people like this in your crowd? Here's a real advertisement for a Marvel. It's a Marvel House ad for subscriptions with a Christmas theme. Deck the halls with Marvel comics. Your first two 12-issue subscriptions cost $6 each, or just 50 cents per copy. And it's Spidey doing a Santa Claus. I always love these old advertisements. The advertisements about muscle men I don't care that much for in comic books, but comic book advertisements for comics, yeah, I can dig that. And this is a DC Comics house ad. Every issue comes to your door in a protective wrapper. Your best chance to have a complete collection of our epic adventures, Robin says here. And in the past, I know comics were sent out folded. So they came in folded in your mailbox, which was terrible because you always had a line in the middle of the comic. Later they sent out the comics flat. I think with a board maybe behind them, so they would at least not be folded. And this is just a picture he posted of 1970s Spider-Man with Nicholas Hammond starring as Peter Parker. And every time I see a picture like this, it makes me think about my past, about my childhood, and how much I loved this series as a kid. So I have to like a post like this. This is of course a publicity still for the series. And this was an interesting one as well. It's a photograph from the same series with Spider-Man fighting in a Western backlot at Universal Studios or something like that. It's from the second episode of the series, and it's used as a photographic cover of Inside Kung Fu. This is great. This is an Incredible Hulk playing American football of the old 1970s series, Lou Ferrigno, of course. So besides comic book ads, he also shows a lot of different stuff that's great. And like sound effects Sunday, like here, He-Man versus Superman. That's why I like this account. It's a bit wacky. It's funny, and it has some great artwork. Who would win? Who would win, He-Man or Superman? Well, it's probably a tie. This is one of my favorite comic book ads. 25 years ago, we turned the comics world upside down. Marvel Masterworks. And the funny thing is, of course, the guy who's dressed up as Spidey isn't upside down, but the back stuff is. So the whole closet and all the comics are somehow upside down. Do you collect Marvel Masterworks? Because they're quite expensive. I buy them when they're on sale. And especially Spider-Man Marvel Masterworks, because I think they look great on the shelves. This one I particularly like as well. It's from 1985. The Dark Knight Returns. Batman and Robin as you've never seen them before. And it's a different look for Batman and Robin. First of all, Robin is a girl in this series. And just imagine seeing this advertisement for the first time. You not really know what you're in for, I guess, when you see this. Because The Dark Knight Returns was definitely something else. Somebody says, I actually ordered The Dark Knight Returns via this ad and received second prints for the first 2 issues. Always kind of pissed me off. So, were you ever subscribed to comic books? And what were your experiences with that, to be exact? I'm curious about that. Please let me know in the comments below. This is a good one. The death of Batman. You'll believe a Batman can die. Which is funny. It's funny because it's a pun on you believe a man can fly. It's the tagline of the first Superman movie by Richard Donner. And of course, comic books were filled with stuff like this. Moneymaker. It's sensational. Insert a blank piece of paper into the machine, turn the knob, and from the opposite side, presto, out comes a real dollar bill. Yeah, right. Sure. So make all comic book readers into counterfeiters. That's great. Stanley, he always cracks me up. Uncle Stan wants you to buy Crazy number 8. He won't stop. This one is funny. He won't stop breaking weight. Many times a child who has uncontrollable flatulence needs a diet correction, not a spanking. It's an ad parody. Oh, thank God. I almost thought it was real. And this is a cool Sandman ad from 1988. So if you saw this advertisement for the first time, I never heard of the Sandman before, would you have bought the series based upon this ad or not? That's an interesting question. Anyway, comic book ads, there will be a link in the description below. Thank you for watching and I'll catch you guys at the next one. Cheers!